Hello and welcome to Working Lunch, the Slow Chambers weekly series where we connect you with our community leaders who are doing exciting things in our community. I'm Jim D'Antona, CEO of the San Luis Obispo Chamber, and today we'll be having a conversation with the owners of Gymnazo, Michael and Paden Hughes. Gymnazo is a fitness facility and brand that blends restoration techniques with fitness performance so everyone walking through their doors knows they can reach their goals safely, receive quality coaching, and belong to an encouraging community. Founded by Michael in 2010, Gymnazo has grown from 18 clients into an amazing 13,000 square foot facility in the heart of San Luis Obispo, where Paden, Michael, and their team of coaches offer a simple path to becoming fit, active, and pain-free. With a focus on blending restoration and performance training, Gymnazo has created an environment that celebrates each member's uniqueness with flexible and scalable workouts. I'm so looking forward to talking with this duo about what drove them to become business owners, their core values, and how during one of the toughest years for the fitness industry, they've continued to innovate and care for their athletes. Paden and Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is great stuff.
Well, that's an incredible background and setup. Well, where are you joining us from today?
We're actually inside of our facility, but we built out a filming studio due to the topic that we're going to be talking about. So this is where we do a lot of our media.
Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous setup. Well, let's start out. I always like to learn a little bit more about how a person's career path started. Michael, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you were like growing up. Do you always want to know you own your own business?
I didn't know that I wanted to, but it was more of a family kind of have to. Every at least male in my family owned their own business at one time, or still currently does. And so it was one of these things that I just felt completely like this is my path. Even my grandfather, who's in the FBI, which is not owning his own business, left it to start his own alarm company business. So it was like I couldn't escape it. It was just around me. We didn't have conversations around the dinner table about it. It was just the essence of the Hughes family male, in a sense. So I just knew that that's what I was going to do. I didn't really have a question in my mind, actually.
That's fabulous. And it's really unique. A lot of people look for jobs. So it's really interesting to be in a place where it just kind of, that's where you're going. Paden, what about you? Did you have a similar upbringing, or was there something specific that gave you this fire to think about helping business owners?
So we talked about this. I came from much more of the employee mindset background. I had a lot of consultants in my family, a lot of educators, nonprofit, bleeding hearts out there in my family. But for me, around entrepreneurship, it came through consulting at Collaboration Business Consulting and working with Michael Gunther, and really getting to see a lot of these entrepreneurial stories so close up and getting a kind of a seat at the table on how they're processing decisions, what their lives are like in this entrepreneurial world. And I had imposter syndrome a little bit, because here I was giving advice about how to grow and run your business and using the systems and structures that we know work, but I hadn't done it. So there was this kind of crazy time where all my clients ended at once, and it was this opportunity to shift into Gymnazo and grow it from 6 figures to 7 figures. And we did that in 2019. And so I don't know if I would have been an entrepreneur necessarily if it wasn't for Michael, but
I'll take that.
Either Michael, actually. Either Michael's in my life. But it's been a really cool thing to be a part of. And it's, I think, the fast track to personal development and all sorts of things, because it's learning trial by error.
Yeah, I always thought that if you own your own business, you therefore have wealth, expendable wealth. And that was just my mindset. Like, wow, you own your own business? Great, you must be wealthy.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunately not the truth.
No.
In more cases than not.
We joke that you basically try to escape your 9 to 5. So you work, 6 a.m. to 7 to 8 to 9 p.m. every day, and sometimes through the weekend, as if that's a better alternative. But
I enjoy it.
There do have some upsides to it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe take us a little bit through that genesis of Gymnazo. Which came first, the business relationship or the personal relationship?
Oh, that's really funny. so speaking about Paden and I, it was actually at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically speaking, it was for me, because each person tells a slightly different story. It was the business arm first. I say we had 3 business dates, but the third date, and each date got more and more and more personal until the third date. I was like, "Can I ask you on a date personally?" And it was kind of, I had to make that like personal attachment.
And I was like, man, I've really lost my edge. This has taken 3 weeks to get asked on a date. Like, what is up with this guy?
So it's kind of interesting because our business relationship and our personal relationship have literally started at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
and that's incredible. So then you guys ended up getting married very shortly after, right?
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years.
That's fabulous. So that's just such a fun story to hear. I really enjoyed it. I knew our listeners would love to hear it too. So, but let's get back to the Gymnazo story. I'm sure most people who think about what it takes to have a gym fitness facility, the first thing that comes to mind is like the equipment and then maybe some motivational music. But since my arrival in St. Louis, your clients, or you refer to them as athletes, which I love, talked about how Gymnazo was more than that. Can you talk about your athletes and the people you hope to attract to your business?
Yeah. So ultimately what we found about our clients and the ones that call it home to be here and rave about it around town, and we do really well with people who hate traditional fitness. Almost a go-to phrase. If someone says, I don't love working out at the gym, that almost tells us they're our kind of person. Because what we obsess about is, can we support you with recovery, with performance, with a community so that you can enjoy a socially active life outside of a gym? And because of that, it's sustainable training that starts to matter to a lot of people. Building friendships and connections and community becomes a really important factor, and having non-scale wins. It's not to say you aren't gonna lose weight working out, but it's not the only thing people care about in our community. They care about throwing their grandkids in the air. They care about walking down stairs without holding rails. They care about picking up a 5K, running with some college friends in high altitude, and why not? Because I can, and I enjoy training for it. So we really just want to support the goals of our core members, and that's what makes us different.
Yeah, someone said, "Oh, Michael, you own a gym. You're a personal trainer," and I almost was offended by that. I was like, "Oh, I guess I do." I don't really consider myself that kind of person, and it's like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, and it was because it was the attachment. It's the ethos of what makes Gymnazo. We really care less, in a sense, of what happens in the facility. It's really what happens outside of the facility. Mm-hmm. So our training and and how we deal with all things is really focused around that. That's where the function is, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really interesting discussion. You just said, you use the word ethos, and that, is that something you started with, when you formed Gymnazo, or is this something that you've kind of figured out and honed over time?
I would say each fitness facility harbors the true personality of its owners. Mm-hmm. Really, if you look, again, simply stated, look at the owner, mm-hmm. then that's how they're going to train you to look like that. And so with most of our clients, twice the age I am, it's a little different. But we looked at it in a sense of like, what's my ethos as Michael? And it was always about health. It was always about mindset. For me, fitness was confidence. That's why I started to work out. That's why my athleticism has been so important to me, because it gave me mental, soulful confidence, not physical. So I guess, yes, it's always been there, but subconsciously. And then once we started to develop our own software, basically, we started to realize, it can go way beyond that. Really taking care of the person, just through physical means.
Well, and a backstory too that not everybody knows about is that Michael wanted to be a physical therapist since age 13. So maybe you should tell the story about that, because that shaped the way you grew Gymnazo to be more than just fitness.
Yeah, it's true. I grew up with a really crazy stutter. I had a traumatic childhood with loss of a mother, and that shaped who I was and how I thought I was in a sense. And it was challenging to not be able to speak up because you're afraid of screwing up. So fitness was my outlet. I really have to thank Big Five Sporting Goods and 2 older brothers for the garage bench press, leg extension, and leg curl machine, because in 7th grade, walking into my American history class, I couldn't move my arms. And it was phenomenal. It was really cool. And it was quite the conversation starter. But I realized after, unfortunately, borrowing for an extended period of time the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding from my, at that point, Catholic high school. I gave it back later, a long time later.
Like 10 years later.
An extended borrow, we'll call it that. It was interesting to see the results, physical results from that, from spending hours in the gym, but then what other athletes at that point who I looked up to say, wow, you're looking really good. Can you write me some workouts? Can you help me out? So it was when I started working out with the high school or the varsity football team in 8th grade. I couldn't play varsity football. That really gave me this like, wow, what can I learn that's a maximum level of knowledge in this field? And at the time, I thought it was physical therapy. So that's always been my ethos of why fitness and what Gymnazo is. It's all honed around full body wellness, full person wellness, not just lifting weights. So
and also to me, part of the story that's fascinating, because when I first met Michael, I kind of thought, oh, he's just one of those trainers. But when he would talk about what got him excited, I mean, he had just been rejected from physical therapy school after 2 years of applying to different schools, and he wasn't giving up. Like the energy was, I'm just going to find a non-traditional way to heal people. I'm just going to figure out how to help people. And I remember being intrigued by that, but then he did. I mean, he went and found physical therapists that could teach him musculoskeletal dysfunction and how to figure it out, how to spot it, how to work with it. And then he sat there and learned from clinical environments what the protocols were, what the problem-solving techniques were, and he figured out how to blend it into group fitness so people didn't know what he was doing in a good way.
It's very simple.
So he cons people into basically doing therapy with a piece of equipment to distract them from the fact that they're actually simultaneously working on some rehab strategies while they think they're getting their butt kicked in a workout. So it's really smart training. And that's part of what I think for me, you've always wanted people to move pain-free. That's the biggest thing you want.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of the things that I was most intrigued, obviously, having spent some time. I was an athlete in high school and not so much now, but it was the idea that you're talking about, that physical therapy in the idea of fitness, that you can really do more with it, I think is amazing, and love to hear that. That is an incredible special tool that it sounds like you're bringing. I mean, we look at, here we are on what is hopefully the other side of a pandemic. We were just talking about how you've gotten that incredible setup behind you there. But it had a serious impact on gyms and all types of wellness businesses. And just kind of looking at what you're doing there and the operational adjustments during the pandemic and seeing you today ready to jump right back and kind of move forward is inspiring. Can you maybe talk about that those business values and how they guided you in the early days of the pandemic?
This is all you.
Okay, so Mike, actually, I'll credit you. Michael's obsessed with Elon Musk, all things Tesla, SpaceX, you name it, he knows it. And one of the things you'd always say is our best defense is our offense. And he's always said, like, the pace of innovation is what's going to lead and safeguard us regardless of what comes out economically, socially, et cetera. And so for us, it was like, okay, we, first of all, care tremendously about the human beings who've signed up for us and said that we pick you to guide us through our health and wellness. Like, you're the chosen people for us. And we take that really seriously. And so when we were threatened with a shutdown, it was this sense of, no, there's like 450 people at large, like saying that they count on us to help support them in their goals. Those goals don't just disappear because of a pandemic. Those goals are there.
They actually intensify.
Yeah, even more, because now mental health is at a crisis level we've never seen before. And that's now can be relieved through physical fitness. So we knew, or, supported at least. And so we knew that this was really more important than it's ever been. And so pausing was never the option. It was, okay, pace of innovation, one of our values, and intentional partnership with our members, keeping them at the forefront. And truthfully, there were a lot of people who were living alone in our membership, who were alienated from family members, who weren't able to witness grandkids that had just been born, who were never seeing their aging parents, and they were kind of trapped and isolated in their homes. We're like, we have to meet them in their homes. Like it's not even a question. It says, I have to show up for these people. And we had names for them. We knew them. We've known them for years. And it was like, okay, we've got to innovate fast enough to reach people in their homes. And also another value of ours is taking care of our people. And unemployment was never an option. They won't go on unemployment. We will figure it out, because we can't serve 450 people without the team. And so we said, okay, that's it. We've got to figure this out, with $0 in the bank at the time, literally just written our last check for a different business to get off the ground. And we're like, we have to serve our people. We have to innovate faster than we've ever had to innovate, and we have to bring our people with us. And it's just this Viking energy of, you burn the ships, we're taking the land. Like there is no retreat option here, and that energized our souls, I would say.
It brought our entire team, our entire employee Gymnazo team, to levels of unity, I would like to say. Like coming out of 2020, we're like, there's nothing we can't do, and it's just a matter of what do we want to do. And it was really awesome. There are silver linings in all things, and that was certainly one of them for us. Is that it pushed the industry, which was really lagging. Fitness industry, it's just,
we haven't had any tremendous breakthroughs
there's not really
in a while.
breakthroughs in it. Maybe a piece of equipment here and there. Boutique training, kind of our type of setup, is probably the biggest breakthrough. But even that's just a changing of service. So this is where we want to take it, and the virtual side of things. Hence this exact meeting right now. It's now everywhere. We can literally go worldwide with this concept.
It's pretty awesome, and you think that the amount of pivots you must have made during that entire time. Did you guys keep a track of that?
Yeah, we're actually, I lost count over 12.
It was 14 pivots in 10 months, for sure. I know that number.
There you go.
And not just small pivots. Like, we have to have multiple meetings to communicate these pivots and what they look like and mean for people, not just staff members, but clients, and getting everybody to not have decision fatigue, or change fatigue, I think is probably more of what it's called. But keeping it fresh, keeping it exciting, keeping it, the spirits alive. We're humans. Like, our strength isn't our strength, it's our adaptability. Like, that's why we succeed in life and live. So we have to, we're basically training for that.
Yeah, it's so interesting, because we train people to adapt to real life scenarios. Literally the crack in the curb, right?
Yeah.
That slippery slope. You can deadlift 250 pounds, great. Do you have balance and control slipping down the side of the hill? So it really was like our entire thought process of how we train people. It just turned right towards us and say, well, how well are you ready to be trained? And or therefore apply your training. So it was kind of like,
we went through a hard workout as entrepreneurs. I feel like that might be the best way to describe the pandemic.
Yeah, definitely.
For us.
Definitely. But because of it, we built this studio. We have an entire 4,000 square foot completely covered outdoor workout facility. Bistro lights, shipping containers.
Michael has a water feature and landscaping out there. It is great.
So it's fun. I'll say that.
And we continue to offer virtual training. I think that's something that what's been profound is for every every gym owner, retention's the number. That's really the one that puts profit in your pockets is, and proof of business value and quality is, are people staying? It's not just getting more people to come in and buy it and then burn out and get injured and get out. Like, we want clients for 4 or 5 years. That's who we want. So we have to solve for all the things that would cause them to not stay with us. And one of those would just be, we're moving out of the area. We love you guys, but we're leaving. And now with virtual training, for anyone that was training with us that has moved since the pandemic and because of the pandemic, we haven't lost a single person, and they're still virtual training with us. So it's really powerful to realize, what's the impact of that on your business? It's really big. It's really profound.
Well, I would say, yeah, I think it's so important. Like, a lot of what you're talking about, obviously focused around your business, but applies all over. And I was actually really impressed by, you talked about something in there, the focus on your team and how you think about professional development, it sounds like. Can you share a bit about that philosophy and maybe some examples of how you've supported your team's growth in what some may think of as non-traditional ways?
It's all you.
So we believe that our people, if you take good care of your people, they take good care of your clients, period. I don't care where you go. There are restaurants downtown right now where you just know they have good owners. Why? Because people just love on you when you show up and you walk in, and it's not just one, it's everybody. It's not the server who's getting tipped by you. It's the people who won't be getting tipped by you. And it's just this energy. And so I would definitely say, as a leader, I've made mistakes around taking care of people and have realized how important it is. And it's one thing to say, and made shifts because of it, but it's one thing to say it's a value. It's another thing to put your money where your mouth is and not put people on unemployment. Like, for me, that was a big moment. Like, how much do we really believe this? Like, a private question between the two of us. Like, how much are we willing to keep the team together and have that conversation, but anyways, we support our team in a lot of different ways. We send them on trips to go get educated and get certifications that they're really excited about, knowledge that they don't get just be told, here's your skill gap, go get trained. We ask them what's inspiring for them. What do they love? What are they interested in? Great. Let's partner with you in going to get that education. And that's been really powerful for us. It's things like maternity leave. We have one of our most senior coaches, the most senior coach on our team right now, is out on maternity leave. And we have decided to support her and give her that freedom to know when she's ready to return. And it's just been really powerful to, again, just, what do you care about? Because honestly, when your business is stressed out, those values don't get to be shelved. It's never been more important to show those, quite honestly. And so I think I'm proud of some of the decisions that we've made around our values.
A lot of our time, we don't really spend in an office. Like, we're all working with other clients. So our team bonding isn't in a typical office setting where we all sit around a table and kind of chit chat. We're always spread apart. So we really started in the back end, blending education and our own bonding at the same time. So we would shut down the facility, shut down the business for 3-4 days just to travel as a team to a conference. And that right there was kind of the seed that really kind of fostered everything that Paden just mentioned. We grow together, we experience together. And I've been very, very proud of our team, extremely proud, especially through 2020.
I mean, we can't take credit for 14 huge pivots in your business without knowing that we can come up with the idea, we can dream it up, but they have to go make it happen.
Yeah.
And maybe we're with them in it, but at the end of the day, they're the ones selling the clients on why this new pivot of park workouts is going to be even better than it was before, or how your home workouts of body weight, that's amazing. Like, you don't need equipment. And then 2 months later, here's an equipment bundle for you because you can't handle that many more body weight workouts, and just, they bought in and they knew energy. Their jobs were on the line every day. I mean, truthfully, there's a level of how transparent are you and how much are you a PR stunt person to your team? And I think we threaded that really, really well. They always felt like they knew what was really going on. And I think that's helped too.
It's such an important part, and your story is so important. I'm glad you're sharing it with us and all of our followers here, because that really is, as so many businesses across the country are having trouble finding staff, it's things like this that are going to make the difference on whether someone comes to work for you or be a part of your team. So I congratulate you on that, and hopefully, others are starting to see that this is a key part of how to keep your business going. I mean, we're here, we're about to open a new chapter, hopefully here, and some things begin to feel more familiar. What are some of the things that maybe you feel like you've learned over the past 15 months that will kind of keep going into this, hopefully, full reopening here?
The biggest thing that I've learned, I'm curious to see what you have to say, is that there's a core values that keep you as your own self. And if you shift those, then you start to shift your product, you start to shift your services. So keep those intact when all possible, even if you have to lose money short term to do it. And that's something that we didn't shift how we ran our business. In fact, we try to actually amplify it more. And it was a tough 14 months. Financially, it's extremely challenging. But it's in the rearview mirror. I wish the account was where it was, the bank account where it was. But I look at it as now, it's like you went through something very, very challenging. You've learned and you saw what is possible from a negative standpoint. But that shines a light, almost a reflection into what is possible. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually more excited than I've ever been owning Gymnazo. I have more passion than I've ever had. In fact, I don't want to call it the COVID like a slap in the face to wake up, but it really was. There's so much more that we can do. And San Luis Obispo, even though we love it, we're going to stay here, for a long time. There's so much more that we can do, and so many more people that we can serve, and not just clients, but other coaches. So that's been something that's been absolutely monumental. It's like there's other coaches that want this same ethos, and they just need to know how to do it. So more to come.
And I think for me, what was a good reminder was a few things. Like when you're married and working together with 2 kids under 4, like you've already got a lot going on, right? And then you throw a pandemic in, and we had more fun than we've ever had working together. I did not know. I mean, who knows? That's a crazy lineup. I didn't know how it was going to go. I know a lot of people had a lot of struggles around being in relationship in business, and I was thankful that we felt stronger because of it. For me, I learned the hard way about you can't prioritize everyone else's health and wellness at your own sacrifice. So I got to learn that one and feel very fraudulent in the fact that I was excited and supporting and doing ridiculous amounts of just so much effort to support everyone else staying mentally sane and physically moving. And then I collapsed on my kitchen floor last fall and had like brain fog, chronic stress, and fatigue, and was like, what's wrong with me? And so I just know for me, there's just been a lot about taking personal ownership around my self-care, and that I wouldn't have anticipated, probably should have anticipated, but didn't. And here we are. So then that was a really big one. And then just feeling so much pride that we can do hard things. Again, I really believe as entrepreneurs, like our gift to the world is creating something out of nothing. Like we're really good at doing that. And here we get to pivot out of and like be like, here's the parameters, here are the guidelines. Go create something that your clients will still pay you for, that'll keep your team employed for, and do it again and again and again. And honestly, like just realizing like with repetition how strong you can become. I just feel a little invigorated and really proud about that. Even though this is like, it was hard. It was really hard, but I'm really proud of it.
Yeah. And seeing how knowing how difficult it has been for you, and seeing it and watching you both kind of get through it. I'm so inspired for how you've shared this conversation and the truth that you've been sharing. So I want to make sure we're already at the half-hour mark, which I obviously could talk to you guys for hours. This is awesome. But I want to make sure people can learn more about Gymnazo. Where should they go to find out more?
Best platform for us is Instagram. So it's just at Gymnazo, or you could find us online for www.gymnazo.com and come check us out. Like literally just show up and be like, what is this space? I want to see that 4,000 square foot outdoor facility. We call it the arena. So you can just mention that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And we'll add it for our listeners here down into our comments. If just click on it to access it. But we like to end our program every week with a question of what are you looking forward to this weekend? Since you guys are 24/7 running your business, maybe this isn't your weekend type.
No, it's actually a good weekend to ask because we have a family wedding to go to. So that's really the first time we're going to be seeing a lot of family members in a long time. So
yeah, get to bring our kids with us and just to see them play and have a great time. So
yeah,
amped about it, actually.
That sounds fabulous. Well, Michael and Paden, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing with our audience. It's always so wonderful to talk with you.
Thanks, Jim. You too.
Exactly.
As always, if you have questions for our guests, feel free to add them into the Facebook comments below. The Gymnazo team will hop on a little later maybe and try to answer those when they get a moment. We thank all of you for tuning in. We hope that you will join us next week, same place, same time. We will have Andrea Luker, the Port San Luis Harbor Manager, join us and talk about the latest happenings out at Port San Luis and talk about the highly anticipated Terrace Hill project. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy and safe out there.